Hello, it's Aimee, and in this video I will be making the third page in my recipe book. Learning from my previous layouts, I wanted to take a different approach to this recipe spread. I did smaller doodles in the past and made larger sections for writing out the instructions. I think that could work for some people, but for me, I have very small handwriting, so I struggle to fill in that space. For this layout, I decided to reverse it and have the drawing being a larger portion of the spread and the smaller sections for the recipe itself. I've been really into using a colored pencil for my line work because of how well it looked for my stroke piece. The colored pencil gives a softer look compared to how harsh a fine liner can be, even if it's a light color. You are also more flexible with the line variation when using the colored pencils, and I love the look of it. Unlike the other doodles, I didn't want it to be just the banana bread itself. I added some extra ingredients, or more like decor related to what goes into the banana bread around it, while leaving some empty space at the top of the page for the title of the recipe. As you can guess already by the thumbnail and the sketch, this will be a recipe page for banana bread. The recipe I use for making banana bread is from Rosanna Piancino, which I will make sure to link her video in the description box if you are interested in making it yourself. I was very happy with how the lining turned out, so I moved on to the coloring portion. For the base color of the banana bread, I used my Tombow dual brush pens to fill it all in. I added some textures in the lighter parts by coloring in a circular motion, giving it a more realistic look. The golden brown color for the outer portion was the right choice, but I wish there was a lighter version for it. The slices on the cutting board weren't affected as much by the streaks the layers left, but when it came to coloring in the larger portion of it, the streaks bothered me a bit. I continued to fill in the rest of the doodles using light colors. I used color pencils to help cover some of the streaks and also give some definition to the drawing, adding layers of it over the same area. When you bake banana bread, you will have a golden color on the outside that will continue when you cut and reveal the inside of the bread. So I added that on the edges of each slice. I just continued to add more and more layers of color throughout the drawing to hopefully get the realistic result I'm striving for. There were a lot of moments of having to be brave in the darker color choices for the shadows because I struggled with making sure to keep the nice golden color and not have any areas look burnt. It was the same struggle I had when coloring the cookies in my first recipe video. Of course, in banana bread, it wouldn't look as smooth as it does in my drawing now, so I had to add in some holes and darker areas inside as well. I didn't know how to go about it though. At first, I started coloring in some random dots throughout the slices, but it looked weird to me. From those dots, I then tried to make small craters instead, and I think that helped with the texture. Part of me wanted to keep adding more shading, but I didn't want to go overboard and regret coloring in more. The walnuts were tricky to color. I had the same issue of trying to keep the color while also adding shadows and textures to it. It was a lot of trial and error. At one point, it all blended together, but adding more shading with darker colors helped a lot. My original idea was to have a light-colored cutting board for the bread to be displayed on, but the walnuts blended too much into it and it was hard to see them because of it. I went for a bold, dark color choice to help solve that issue, but it was a bit of a risk because it could end up blending in with the bread instead. It did at first, but the more layers of the pencil I added, the better it looked. Once I was satisfied with how the bread and nuts looked, I moved on to the bananas. I went back and forth on which stage of ripeness I wanted to color them in and decided for a middle stage, not too ripe and not too green. I did a cafe theme in my bullet journal last year, and baked goods like banana bread fit right in. I love the look of using chalkboard-like lettering for my theme and wanted to do the same for this bread. I used a black tip marker first to give a nice straight outline, and then filled the rest in with a black Posca marker. Unfortunately, I forgot to press record when it came time to do the actual lettering, but instead of beating myself up over it, I'll at least show part of it. I used a fine tip acrylic pen to do the monoline lettering first, and then went back over it again to add a faux calligraphy touch. After that, I drew in a border around the whole banner for the finishing touches. For the ingredients and recipe instructions, I wanted to try the plaid pattern again like I did for the spaghetti recipe. I probably should have chosen a lighter color for it because when writing in the details, it was hard to see. Since I forgot to record the lettering for the banner earlier, I figured I'd do it for the ingredients and instructions. I used the same black acrylic marker for the background and then used a white gel pen for the lettering on top of it. This spread is a huge difference compared to my previous spreads. Part of me wants to redo them because this turned out so nicely, but it's also nice to see the progress and I get a sense of satisfaction from it. But it is a perfect setup for those that don't need too much space for writing and want to focus more on the art. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day and take care. Bye for now.